mother-in-law and Henry's mother, sucking up to the old lady. This building and the one straight through, which is the town hall, were built in 1929 on the premises. All of the other historic buildings were brought in and reassembled here. This was done because Henry wanted to show, I'll get out of your way, Henry wanted to show the world what life was like before the gasoline engine and the electric light. So, excuse me, but this was done to show the world what life was like before all these things. And he wanted to look like New England because that's where his family was from.
Makes sense.
However, this was not done for tourists. If you were here in 1929, you would not be here because this was a school. Now, why would Henry want to build a school? Well, he is building the largest industrial plant in the world over here at Rouge Plant. And when he builds that, he needs employees. This area doesn't look, 1929 doesn't look like it does today. It was a bunch of farms.
Right, right.
You can put that down if you
Oh, no, that's okay, that's okay.
Okay. And so, he needs employees. And how is he going to get them? Well, he started on that route by the $5 a day deal, which was $5 a day for 8 hours versus $2 a day for 9 hours. Which would you take?
The $5 for,
yes.
$3 more for one less hour.
Yes. And by the way, that also helps his employees in a way that helps him in that they've got more leisure time, and some of them can now afford to buy one of his cars. That really sets up this area for the middle class. All right, now, so that's why he does that. But he still needs more workers. He needs about 3,000, and there aren't 3,000 in this area. So he sends out advertisements, and he sends them to Chicago, New York, Cleveland, Kansas City, all over the country. Come to work for Ford's. And by the way, are you from this area? Well, we know that it's Ford's. You don't work for the Ford Motor Company. You work for the Fords. Okay, so he sends these advertisements out to go in the papers, and they say, oh, and if you come and work for us, we'll make sure your children get a good education. So that's why we have Greenfield Village. This was his school. Now, how did it work? Kids would come in over there where the water trough is for horses. It's over there.
Oh, right over there?
Yeah.
Building? Okay.
Okay, they would come in. They would come in here, and the first 6 grades would come into this building.
Okay.
Now the other grades would go into what is now the museum. And so this would be their assembly. Come on in. We're explaining how this school got started. This was a school. Started in 1929. And because Ford needed workers, and this was an incentive to people to come to work for Ford's. Okay, they would come in here. They would have their morning assembly here. They would be told what was going to happen that day. They would be given. There would be songs. Those songs could be hymns, but Henry liked "Home on the Range." Could also be, there would be non-sectarian Bible readings. Henry was not a member of an organized religion. His wife was. She was an Episcopalian, but not him. And they would also, every student, at least 3 times a year, and sometimes 4, would have to go all the way up in front and give a reading of a poem or something that they had written for the for the rest of the class. and anybody else listening. We'll get to that in a second. So, and the reason, of course, was that Henry wanted his students to become good public speakers. Just a couple of months ago, somebody on that side of the room said to me, well, Henry wasn't a good public speaker. Then somebody on that side helped me out and said, yeah, that's probably why he did it. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, Henry, by the way, only went to the 6th grade and was not did not like school. But he wanted his students to be good public to be good students. So, okay, now, who would be listening to this? Well, if you had a radio in 1929, you could listen to it. Oh, I just said that, didn't I? Okay, well, sorry. Who else would be listening? Right up here would be Henry. Whenever Henry was in town, he would be in the balcony listening. He could be alone. He could be with his wife. He could be with a guy 5 miles down the road.
Sorry.
He could be with a guy 5 miles down the road who was the township supervisor in 1913 and helped Henry buy some land. And my grandfather was not reelected because of that. The farmers didn't think much of that idea. But it could be somebody who used this, or it could be somebody like, I don't know, a baseball player, or maybe Clark Gable, or I always like that. I get smiles out of it. And I always get a good one on that one too. But somebody, it could be somebody who used this park as a template or as an example for his own parks. Anybody have an idea who that would be?
Disney?
You got it. Disney was a frequent visitor. And why would Disney come? Well, Disney doesn't build his park until 1954. This place is built in 1929. So, he wants to see how to do it. If you had a map, well, you've got a map. You took that map and you took that map and you compared it to the one for Disneyland, you would see some similarities. All right. Disney, by the way, also is a good friend of his and used to give talks up in front of the students, and would illustrate them with his cartoons, which he would sign and give to the students. That'd be neat to get one of those, wouldn't it? Huh? Okay. So, now that's the, when they were done, Disney would come, or Disney, whoever it was with Henry, would come down here. Henry would shake his hands of every student, and he knew all their names. There were about 400 students. And then he would send them out to the rooms. Now, where would he send them? Well, if they had a class in music, they could go to Swanee, where Stephen Foster wrote his songs. Or if they had a class in English, Webster's house or Frost. Or what if they had a class in science? Where would they go?
Edison?
Edison's laboratory, sure. Where would they go if they had a class in civics?
Oh, God.
The courthouse?
The Logan County Courthouse, where Lincoln practiced law. Okay, Henry was famous for his statement, history is bunk. Now, what does he mean by that? He means that history, the way it is taught in the schools then and still now, and by the way, Henry and I disagree on this, but Henry's more important, so we'll talk about Henry, where the emphasis was on what Otto or the First or James II or Charles III or Louis XIV did. Didn't make any difference at all to the guy planting corn out in Iowa. He was interested, he wanted to mix the academic and the practical. So in the morning, spelling test. In the afternoon, shoeing horses, or maybe working in the tin shop or the clothing areas. Those were things that he wanted to do. So that's how he set that up. Now,